The meeting will please come to order. Hello, everyone who has joined us in council chambers and also virtually. My name is Trippy Congo, President of Wilmington City Council, and on behalf of all of my colleagues, we want to thank you for joining us this evening. Today is Thursday, July the 6th. Just as an advance comment, for any public comment, there is a Google Form sign-up link in the chat for any City of Wilmington resident who wants to give any public comment. Please refer only to me. Please do not direct any of your comments to any of the council members, and public comment will take place after non-legislative business. We will have our opening prayer by Akira Granado.
Heavenly Father, we have assembled to handle the affairs of our city. As we do so, we ask for your guidance and understanding. We pray that our city reaches a place of peace and safety. Keep us out of harm's way and bless those who are in authority. Let respect be key in all our endeavors. Amen.
Amen. This time we will recite the Pledge of Allegiance.
Just stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilmember White.
Present.
Councilwoman Darby. Councilwoman Darby. Councilwoman Oliver. Councilwoman Harley.
Present.
Councilwoman Fields.
Present.
Councilwoman McCoy.
Here.
Councilman Johnson.
Here.
Councilman Field. Present. Councilwoman Cabrera.
Present.
Councilmember Mills.
Present.
Councilmember Spadola.
Present.
Councilmember Bracey.
Present.
President Congo.
Here.
12 present, 1 absent.
This time we have the reading of the minutes from the previous meeting.
June 15th, 2023, City Council met in regular session with remote participation on the above date at 6:32 p.m. President Ernest M. Congo II presiding. President Congo announced that substitute number 1 to ordinance number 22-035.
I move that the minutes be accepted as written.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that the minutes be accepted as written. On the question, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carried. This time we'll have our committee reports.
June 21st, 2023, President and members of Council, ladies and gentlemen, we, your joint Finance and Economic Development Committee and Community Development and Urban Planning Committees, met by anchor location and remote participation to who was referred ordinance number 23-017, entitled An Ordinance to Amend Chapter 41 of the City
Mr.
Code
President, I move the committee report be received, recorded, and filed.
Second.
to
It
permit
has to
the
be
use.
read completely.
Oh, sorry.
To permit the use of parapet signs, have given this ordinance careful study and recommend council vote on it accordingly. Respectfully submitted, those members present, Councilmember Cabrera, Councilmember Field, Councilmember Darby, Councilmember Fields, Councilmember McCoy, Councilmember Spadola, Councilmember White, and President Congo.
Mr. President, I move the committee report be received, recorded, and filed.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that report be received, recorded, and filed. On the question, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carried.
June 21st, 2023, President and members of Council, we, your joint Finance and Economic Development Committee and Community Development and Urban Planning Committees, met by anchor location and remote participation to who was referred ordinance number 23-027, entitled An Ordinance to Amend Chapter 42 of the Wilmington City Code to permit persons residing in certain residential property to use, install, and maintain curbside charging cords and electric vehicle charging stations in the public right-of-way, have given this ordinance careful study and recommend council vote on it accordingly. Respectfully submitted, those members present, Councilmember Cabrera, Councilmember Field, Councilmember Darby, Councilmember Fields, Councilmember McCoy, Councilmember Spadola, Councilmember White, and President Congo.
At this time, I move for the committee report to be received, recorded, and filed.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that a report be received, recorded, and filed on the question. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. At this time, we'll have our city treasurer's report.
Total investments, $484,798,474.51. Total cash on hand, $14,919,940.24. Grand total, $499,718,414.75. Respectfully submitted, Dwayne Sin, City Treasurer.
At this time, I move for the
Mr. Pres-
treasurer's report to be.
Mr. President, I move the treasurer's report be received, recorded, and filed.
Second.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that that report be received, recorded, and filed on the question. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. This time, I'll accept the motion to move to accept all non-legislative business.
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second to accept all non-legislative business on the question. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Council Member Oliver, did you want to come forward? And again, as a friendly reminder, for those of you who are being recognized, as you come forward, please watch your step when you come up to the podium. Also, if you are a part of a group, please consider using one speaker from the group who will have up to 2 minutes to convey your collective message. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like everybody who's here to support Keith Williams, DJ Live, please come up front. Family and friends, please feel free to come up. Family and friends, please feel free to come up. How you doing? I want to say a few words before we get started. This is the Flornery family. And I want y'all to know they have about 100 votes in this city, or 200. So y'all need to pay attention to them. I had to get that out. I love these people. Don't let Trippy start talking about them. This resolution is for Keith Williams, DJ Live, sponsor Councilwoman Oliver, and the rest of City Council. Whereas this is the sense of City Council to honor individuals who have demonstrated outstanding achievements and deserve recognition and acknowledgments. Keith Williams is known for DJ, K Live deserves this merit. Whereas at the age of 14, Keith Williams of Wilmington, Delaware, had already made quite a name for himself. DJ Live has performed along some of the biggest names in the industry, from Simex Santana to Nickelodeon to Young Dylan Keith. He has always admired music. Though dancing was his first love, dancing has always been a bond to keep him and his family encouraged, even through tough times. By the age of 6 years old, Keith had already gained the following notoriety in his dance move and began booking local talent shows and school performance. And whereas Keith grew up, so did his love for music. At the age of 8, he received his first turntable as a graduation present and started venturing into disc DJing as a hobby. Keith became popular DJ disc jockey at young parties and other local events. Even through local artists, DJ would come to see him perform. They knew he had something special. one DJ in particular was DJ Ty. I remember Ty. Future, he wasted no time in mentoring Keith and seeing his talent. Shortly after 2018, as his 11th birthday, DJ K-Live performed along DJ Diamond, who seen his moves in the artist, Busy Bone and Bone Thugs Harmon at Delaware Peace on the Streets Festival. Keith notes this is one of his biggest birthday parties ever. And whereas DJ Live career began to take off expeditiously, he has since shared the stage with artists such as Young Jay-Z, Lil Baby, Mick Mills, to name a few. He also is well known for his tour with Nickelodeon Kids along the Choice Awards performance with Dylan Gilmore, the star of Tyler Perry's Young Dylan. And whereas in addition, his incredible talent, the support of loving family has been key to Keith's success. Together they have built DJ K-Live Entertainment LLC, a full-service party business. There has been no mistaking that DJ K is one of the greatest young men to come out of Wilmington in this field. Now there be it resolved by the council of the city of Wilmington that the city council is pleased to recognize Keith Williams, known as DJ K-Live, for his extraordinary music talent and positive example to set to Wilmington's youth. We wish you all the best and job well done. So I'm going to, Mr. President, DJ K-Live say a few words, and I would like 3 minutes, and his mother say a few words. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Hi, everybody. They going? Hey, all right. Hello. Check. I want to start off by saying it's an honor, and I'm blessed to be here. I want to start off by thanking council member Miss Oliver and the member in the city of Wilmington for recognizing my hard work for the past years. I started DJing at the age of 8. My aunt brought me my first controller as my graduation present. I want to thank my parents, especially my mom, for managing everything to my family, teachers, and mentors. Thank you all for believing in me and always supporting me. I wouldn't be standing here today without everyone pouring into me. I am blessed. Music has kept me on the right path in life, and I'm ready to go on tour for 3 months doing what I love to do. One last thing. Can someone please get me into a Votech school, please?
Yeah, all right.
Thank you.
That's great. Hi, everyone. I want to say thank you guys for recognizing my son. Keith has came a long way. I can say along with the rest of his support system, it does take a village. And everyone over here, thank you all for being in Keith's life and pouring into him. Even you, Uncle Trippy. I mean, we came to him probably about 4 years ago when I came to him and said, hey, I want to do something for the youth. And, he didn't hesitate at all by saying, how much you need, what is it that we need to do. And we had a big event down at Brown's Boys and Girls Club, just as a give back from, everyone supporting my son over the past few years. Keith he's 14. He's very talented. I can say music is keeping my son on the right path. My family is blessed. We have a tour that's coming up that's going to take off, and he's going to be on the road for 3 months. And Keith is actually being able to see that it's bigger than Delaware. He can do whatever he desires to do, as long as he stay focused and stay on the right path. I don't put nothing behind Keith. I believe Keith is going to go far in life. And Keith, we just want to tell you that we love you and we're proud of you. Okay. Thank you all.
I'd just like to say thank you all for honoring my grandson. He's really gifted, and I'm not just saying that because he's my grandson. I'm saying it because I see it. And I wish that he can help all the young kids that's out here doing other things. It's other things to life than standing on the corners or doing different things or vandalizing people's properties and everything else. He can set an example for everyone to show that it can be done. And just like she said, it takes a village to raise a family. We are family. It's much more of us here, but half of us is in down Atlanta right now. But still, it takes that. I myself have been on a wrong path long time ago in life, and I thank God for turning this around, okay? But for him, I can see him going places. I can see him doing things, interacting with different people and see the different cultures of things that's going on in our world today. And he has a chance to do that and take that chance and run with it. Run with it and go for it because God didn't put you there for no reason at all. Thank you all.
That'll be all. Thank you so much. Thanks again.
Councilmember Spadola.
Good evening, everybody. I'm happy to recognize Mrs. Ikea Ali tonight. She is the inaugural executive director of the Tech Council of Delaware. They're doing a lot of great things with career development, career workforce training for workers in Delaware. Ms. Ali joined the organization just in January 2022. She led a great rebranding. They had a massive kickoff event this March in 2023, and she's done a lot of workforce development work in Philly, and we are happy to have her here in Delaware today, and for the next leg of her career. And so I wanted to recognize her and also to share some of the great stuff that the Tech Council is doing with council members, because I recently met her in Philly, very fittingly at Philly Tech Week, and I asked if she had any exposure to Wilmington City Council, and she hadn't yet. So happy to bring her here, recognize her, and I look forward to the work she's done and the work you're going to do. So thank you for joining us.
Good evening, Council President Congo and Wilmington City Council members. Thank you, Council Member Spadola, for the recognition resolution. As the Executive Director of the Tech Council of Delaware, it brings me tremendous personal and professional satisfaction to lead such valuable systems building work. We often hear about the need to repair broken systems and how some systems are intentionally designed to limit access and opportunity for certain groups. When offered the opportunity to build a new, equitable, and inclusive tech workforce system in Delaware, I did not hesitate to lead this work. However, systems building work does not happen in a vacuum. I am proud to have a talented team of 2 great professionals working alongside me. We are small but mighty. And it has been a pleasant surprise to get to do this work with Stephanie Eldridge, CEO of Code Differently. Code Differently provides hands-on training and education through coding and technology classes that gives participants, primarily those who are underrepresented in the tech workforce, the technical and cognitive skills they need to excel in technology-driven workplaces. Stephanie served as a council advisor in 2022. She supported our rebranding effort, and Code Differently is a member of the Tech Council of Delaware, with Stephanie serving on the Tech Talent and Workforce Committee. She is a great partner and was the first person to say to me, "I see your vision, and I am here to collaborate in building a tech workforce system with you in Delaware." I'll close out by saying that when people hear the Tech Council of Delaware is a nonprofit organization, they immediately think we need help or are asking for money. Financial resources are important and necessary, though what we need are partners that are willing to do this systems building work with us to drive economic mobility and prosperity for those who have for too long been overlooked in the tech high wage industry. I thank you again and formally invite you to collaborate with us in building this system together. Thank you.
I'd also like to recognize resolutions from Councilmember Harley for Mother Bertha Lockett Parker, who celebrated her 100th birthday. Also from Councilmember Oliver, recognizing the Eric Williams Foundation. And sympathy resolutions from Councilmember Fields for Deborah A. Scott. At this time, we're going to move to public comment. And just as a friendly reminder for public comment, there is a Google Form sign-up link in the chat for any City of Wilmington resident who resides in one of the councilmatic districts or taxpayers who would like to speak. Your time limit is 3 minutes. Please keep your comments of general matters pertaining to Wilmington's councilmatic districts or city council business. And please address the president only. And also, again, as you come forward, please watch your step, and I will give you a friendly reminder of your time when you have 30 seconds left. First, we're going to ask Brother Dwight Davis and Brother Malik Harris to come forward. All right, thank you for joining us.
Yes. Good evening, Mr. President, members of Wilmington City Council, citizens of Wilmington. My name is Brother Dwight L. Davis, and I'm here as one representative of the Wilmington City Council Reparations Task Force to thank this council for not only appointing me, but establishing a reparations task force that will propel the city of Wilmington in the future to many, many great things. I know that this task force, the reparations task force, is scheduled to sunset at the end of this month. And I really want to say what this task force has meant to me. This task force, under the concept of structuring structure and structured structures, was designed to commission us to conduct a forensic audit on the municipal corporation called the Wilmington City of Wilmington. And we did that. And so in the manner in which the affirmative action has been sunsetted by the United States Supreme Court, it is important that this task force also be sunsetted at the end of this month. And the reasons that it's important is that now we need to go into another mode of representation, and that is the mode of implementing those suggestions that will be provided to you at the end of this month. There's a concept called Brer Rabbit, Tar Baby, and the Wily Fox. And in this concept, we have touched the Tar Baby, and the Tar Baby is black people. This will help black people to a tremendous degree. So I invite you to come out this Monday at the Powell Center, which is on North Market Street, and this will be our very first official meeting and last meeting of this month before the sunsetting of this task force. The time is 5:30 to 7:30. All council should be there so you can hear this wonderful report that we're going to provide for you. Thank you very much, and have a blessed day.
Thank you. Deacon Errol Tate. Oh, I'm sorry. Malik Harris, Deacon Tate, one moment, please. Please watch your step as you come to the podium, and please introduce yourself.
Good afternoon, good evening. My name is Malik Harris. I am a resident of the 7th District. And I get up here and I see so many people talk about what's going on in their district. I think it's a wonderful thing about how many people have decided that everyone should know what's going on. Well, I'm in the 7th District. We don't have a representative. And if we do, we never see him. We haven't had any representation. I know I'm speaking to you, brother. We haven't had any representation since Bob Williams left us. And it's sad that I have to come up here and speak about this young man, but I'm appalled that there's no meetings ever held, none in the 7th District, none. And I just heard before, a couple of days ago that one of the sisters in the 7th District at the Italian festival actually had to say some inappropriate things to this young man. But it's sad that we have to be here, that I have to be here. I have other things to talk about, but I'm not going to have time to talk about it. But I did want to mention, it saddens me that I have to come here and speak about the lack of representation in the 7th District. Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you. Deacon Errol Tate.
Greetings. I'm here to say that it's time for all the foolishness, and time now to get right, because we have many eyes on the city of Wilmington as well as the state of Delaware, and now it's time for us to get these streets fixed up nicely, not only over the west side, but all over the city, and to get speed bumps put down on the minor streets where the people ignore the stop signs, ignore the stop lights and everything. They just fly through them, and we got people, little people as well as big people, crossing these streets, and they want to cross the streets with the reassurance that they could make it across the street and could go see their friends and everything, or go and play in the parks and everything, or go and do their shopping and everything, and with that have to worry about being hit by a car or so forth. Because I know how it is being hit by a car, because I was hit by a car. So we the people, we are standing up now, and we are telling them that it's time now to get the city right, to get this state right of ours, because we are the people, and the people are us. So it's time. And as I say in my poem, it's time to think. He who thinketh negatively has defeated himself even before he begun. But he who thinketh positively with wisdom, knowledge, and understanding can claim the victory by faith, and is off setting forth new goals and climbing higher heights that life holds no limit to it. Think and react positive. That's the way we got to be.
Thank you. Next we have Cora Castle. please watch your step as you come up to the mic, and please introduce yourself. And once you're at the mic, if you can see the monitor, that will also show you your time. Thank you.
Thank you, City Council
Your lower
President Congo. My name is Cora Castle, and I'm a resident of the Triangle, and I have a brief statement that I've prepared in support of the curbside residential EV charging proposal, which is on tonight's agenda. First, I want to say that I'm appearing here as three completely different people. First, as a born Wilmingtonian and mother, I'm deeply concerned by the accelerating effects of climate change and the gradual theft of the quality of life for our children. The threat of climate change through severe weather and worsening air quality are merely two of the most recent, obvious, and very real threats that we're all facing. Unfortunately, we can expect more frequent, more disruptive, and more dangerous effects. Therefore, as a mother, I'm encouraged that Wilmington has accepted the challenge to make it possible to begin to reduce the impact of transportation on our climate by implementing a policy that makes it not just possible, but practical and cost-saving to slow these terrible effects. Secondly, as a transgender woman, I'm keenly aware of disenfranchisement and seek to fight it where I find it. I have found it in EV ownership through a lack of fueling options for some Americans. The necessity of a garage or driveway in order to conveniently fuel an EV is yet another brick in the wall that separates our disadvantaged communities from generational wealth accumulation and clean environments. Therefore, I'm encouraged by the consideration of a policy that will lay the groundwork for all Wilmingtonians to equally enjoy in the financial and environmental benefits provided by EVs. Thirdly, I appear to you as a degreed electrical engineer, an environmentalist, and inventor. Over the last 4 years, I've interviewed thousands of EV owners and municipal representatives on the topic of EV charging. I have conducted exhaustive research into the housing market, EV charging market, and municipal EV policy. Consequently, I am likely a leading expert on curbside residential EV charging. My findings, in brief, are that there is a Gordian knot of intertwined technical and policy concerns that are recurrent when considering curbside residential EV charging, including parking concerns surrounding parking congestion, electrical sourcing and security, parking enforcement, effects on non-EV owners, as well as consumer affordability. It's difficult to say definitively whether policy concerns preceded the gap in product offerings or vice versa, but it's safe to say that it is necessary to address both product and policy issues simultaneously to bring EVs to enough people to positively affect climate change. I have developed a unique approach to municipal EV charging that has culminated in collaboration with Senator McBride and her team to develop the legislative package which she passed last year and we now discuss today. I am hopeful that I may contribute my unique expertise as a member of the proposed working group to the resolution of our shared climate dilemma, which, if not addressed and promptly, will be felt most severely by those that chiefly concern me, our children and disadvantaged communities.
All right, thank you very much. Next, we have Joe Zakowski. Thank you for joining us, and please watch your step as you come up to the podium, and please introduce yourself.
Hello, my name's Joe Zakowski. I'm in the 8th District, and I've spoke in front of a bunch of you guys already at the committee meeting. I just wanted to come up here and first say that I support Councilmember Spadola's amendment to the EV charging bill. I know and I look forward to the working group that's coming together to help make the bill a little nicer, but this amendment will help lighten the bill just enough to not fear people from buying electric vehicles while we're working on getting it perfect. So I feel like that Councilperson Spadola's amendment will just make it easier. It'll make it a little lighter. I looked at the law, and I've been plugging in since 2019, and I break 2 of the laws already, which how it's written today would be a $100 fine. If you were to forget to put something away before you go on vacation, that's $100 every day, and it continues to add up. There's just how it's written now I'm concerned it would deter EV ownership instead of make it expand. So I'm here to say that as an EV owner, I'm very for the amendment, and for the law going through in general with the amendment. Thank you.
Thank you. And joining us virtually, we have Dustin Thompson. WITN, is Dustin Thompson still with us?
Yes, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to comment virtually. I'm really sorry that I was not able to make it in today. My name is Dustin Thompson. I'm the chapter director for the Sierra Club Delaware chapter. We have a number of members in the city limits. I'm about half a block, I think, outside of city limits. But I want to thank Councilman Johnson for inviting me to speak this evening and for his and the council's work on Substitute 1 for Ordinance 23-027. The Sierra Club Delaware chapter is one of the main organizations working on clean transportation issues in Delaware. With numerous auto manufacturers looking to convert over to making exclusively or near exclusively electric vehicles by 2035, it's incumbent upon states and localities, and of course the federal government, to pass policies to make sure we're all ready for this transition as consumers. Part of that, of course, is enabling folks to have access to private charging whenever possible. While battery technology is rapidly changing, as we are now seeing manufacturers pilot 700 to 900 mile batteries that can maintain a charge for that long, and then recharge at a public charging station within 10 to 15 minutes. They're also introducing battery swapping stations, and private industries are rapidly expanding public charging access. But charging at home will always be the cheapest option when it comes to, quote, refueling an EV. If we may make a couple of comments on the ordinance specifically, all of which we have submitted to Councilman Johnson for consideration. First, most car manufacturers, as a result of the Advanced Clean Cars program being adopted by 14 states right now, or they're in the process of adopting, either through that or because they're just doing it as a matter of policy, they're including level 2 charging cords with every EV. And as such, we're recommending that the ordinance be altered slightly to include the ability to install a simple, it's a dryer outlet style receptacle. It's called a NEMA 1450 outlet, rather than a full charging station. This significantly reduces the cost for installation and is much easier to maintain.
Yeah,
it will
30
also
seconds.
allow individuals to utilize the cord that already comes with their car, rather than having to pay an additional $500 to $700 for the charger, plus that installation cost. I will say we're in conversation with Energize Delaware and DENREC to offer grants, particularly targeted to low and moderate income families, for the upfront costs of the installation. And that would be a direct to installer grant is what we're pushing for, not a rebate after the fact. So DENREC or Energize Delaware, if it ends up being, would pay the installer directly.
That is your time, sir.
Okay.
All right, thank you for joining us. At this time, we're going to move to legislative business. Councilmember Harley.
Yes, Mr. President, I have a resolution to present.
Resolution 23-042, agenda number 0329, whereas City Charter Section 1-101 provides that the city may acquire, hold, manage, and dispose of property on such terms as it deems proper for any municipal purpose. And whereas City Code Section 2-621A provides that City Council shall, by resolution, declare a property approved for disposition and authorize the conduct and disposition proceedings by the Department of Real Estate and Housing. And whereas
I move this resolution be received, recorded, and filed and adopted by a yea and nay vote.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that this resolution be received, recorded, filed, and adopted by a yea or nay vote on the question.
Yes, Mr. President. This resolution declares two small, unused pieces of land owned by the city and located within the South Market Street right-of-way to be surplus and approves them for disposition to the Riverfront Development Corporation of Delaware. I also want to add that when this request came to me, I reached out to confirm with the RDC if this area had been used, if it could be used for anything other than being a right-of-way. So this particular parcel, I received the picture of it. When I originally received the picture, I didn't understand these old street names they had, so they had to send me another graphic of this particular area. So I just wanted it to be on record that I made sure I asked all the pertinent and appropriate questions that were needed to make sure that this is not area or property that had value that we are voting on this evening.
Seeing no hands raised, clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilmember White,
Yes.
Councilmember Oliver,
Yes.
Councilmember Harley,
Yes.
Councilmember Fields,
Yes.
Councilmember McCoy,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Field, Councilmember Cabrera, Councilmember Cabrera, Councilmember Mills,
Yes.
Councilmember Spadola,
Yes.
Councilmember Bracy,
Yes.
President Congo.
Yes.
I'm here. I'm here. Yes. Yes from Maria Cabrera.
So noted. 12 yeas and 1 absent.
Declared adopted.
Mr. President, I have a resolution to present.
Resolution 23-043, agenda number 0330. Whereas pursuant to the city charter, section 1-101, the city may acquire, hold, manage, and dispose of property on such terms as it deems proper for any municipal purpose. And whereas City Code Section 2-621A generally authorizes the Department of Real Estate and Housing to conduct disposition proceedings of real property owned by the city, and whereas City Code Section 2-628A authorizes the Department of Real Estate and Housing, subject to the approval of council by resolution, to grant such easements as shall be deemed necessary and appropriate.
I move this resolution be received, recorded, and filed and adopted by a yea and nay vote.
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. This resolution be received, recorded, filed, and adopted by a yea or nay vote on the question.
Yes, Mr. President, this resolution approves the city's grant of an easement to the Free Air Charter School, Wilmington Incorporation, in Brandywine Park to accommodate the construction and maintenance of an exit and walkway required by the city's fire marshal, as well as a temporary construction easement to build the exit and walkway. In layman's terms, the Free Air School is in the process of building a gym. The school is in a community, a very dense community that works very close together, Midtown Brandywine. When the school reached out to me regarding this, I made sure that the individual met with the Civic Association of the Midtown Brandywine Association. They came to the community to explain exactly what it is that they needed their support and approval to do. So there definitely is agreement between the community and the Free Air Charter School as it relates to this easement. Once they supported the school to get the easement, they had to reach out to the city because there was a portion of this particular area that the city owned. It was like where they need to add this piece of equipment is on the city's property. So that's what this piece of legislation is all about, more so just an easement. Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no hands raised, clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilmember White,
Yes.
Councilmember Oliver,
Yes.
Councilmember Harley,
Yes.
Councilmember Fields,
Yes.
Councilmember McCoy,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Field, Councilmember Cabrera,
Yes.
Councilmember Mills,
Yes.
Councilmember Spadola,
Yes.
Councilmember Bracy,
Yes.
President Congo.
Yes.
12 yeas, 1 absent.
Declared adopted.
That's all I have, Mr. President.
Thank you. Councilmember McCoy.
Yes, Mr. President, I have a resolution to present.
Resolution 23-044, agenda number 0331. Whereas pursuant to section 2-363 of the City Code, City Council deemed it necessary and proper to specify the requirements for review and approval of city-sponsored grant applications and proposals, including authorization for expedited grant applications when necessary prior to council's approval by resolution.
I move this resolution be received, recorded, and filed, and adopted by a yea or nay vote.
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that this resolution be received, recorded, filed, and adopted by a yea or nay vote on the question.
So this resolution authorizes the Wilmington Police Department's grant application to the state of Delaware, their Special Law Enforcement Assistance Fund. We always call it SLEAF. In the amount of the $68,000, the proposed grant funds will be used to purchase 35 ballistic helmets for the Crisis Management Tactical Team. I'm actually very glad that this resolution came through. Initially, they believed that there wasn't any funds available for this, and so they had to be very timely and try to get this resolution to us. So it actually never went to our committee. They made a special request to ask for this to go directly to the agenda because my committee meeting actually was. It was supposed. Well, no, we had it, but we had a issue with our presentation. So that was the quickest meeting on the record. But I just wanted to state that they came to us, and I'm really happy to be able to make certain this got in front of you guys because we initially thought this money was not available.
Thank you. Seeing no hands raised, clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilmember White,
Yes.
Councilmember Oliver,
Yes.
Councilmember Harley,
Yes.
Councilmember Fields,
Yes.
Councilmember McCoy,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Field, Councilwoman Cabrera,
Yes.
Councilmember Mills,
Yes.
Councilmember Spadola,
Yes.
Councilmember Bracy,
Yes.
President Congo.
Yes.
12 yeas, 1 absent.
Declared adopted.
I have nothing else, Mr. President.
Thank you. Councilmember Johnson.
Yes, Mr. President, I have an ordinance to present and call for a third and final reading.
Ordinance 23-017, agenda number 0295. An ordinance to amend Chapter 41 of the City Code to permit the use of parapet signs.
Mr. President, I move that be known as the enacting clause of the ordinance and call for a yea or nay vote.
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that be known as the enacting clause of the ordinance and called for a yea or nay vote on the question.
This is an ordinance, as was thoroughly discussed in committee, is come to our attention recently when implementing the West Side Grows grants, facade grants for businesses. A lot of businesses were reaching out of going to a lot of these stores, and the issue has been signage. The certain types of signs weren't permitted. So this is simply correcting our code so that they can apply for a variance to be able to erect certain signs. So that's really what it is. It's kind of updating our city code, and it should support many of our small business owners actually be able to use these grants.
Thank you. Seeing no hands raised, clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilmember White,
Yes.
Councilmember Oliver,
Yes.
Councilmember Harley,
Yes.
Councilmember Fields,
Yes.
Councilmember McCoy,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Field,
Yes.
Councilmember Cabrera,
Yes.
Councilmember Mills,
Yes.
Councilmember Spadola,
Yes.
Councilmember Bracy,
Yes.
President Congo.
Yes.
12 yeas, 1 absent.
Declared adopted.
Mr. President, I have an ordinance to present and call for third and final reading.
Ordinance 23-027, agenda number 0324, an ordinance to amend Chapter 42 of the Wilmington City Code to permit persons residing in certain residential property to use, install, and maintain curbside charging cords and electric vehicle charging stations in the public right-of-way.
Mr. President, I have a substitute to present in lieu of that ordinance.
Substitute number 1 to ordinance 23-027, revision 1, an ordinance to amend chapter 42 of the Wilmington City Code to permit persons residing in certain residential property to use, install, and maintain curbside charging cords and electric vehicle charging stations in the public right-of-way.
Mr. President, I move that be known as enacting clause of the substitute ordinance and call for a yea nay vote.
So moved.
Second.
It's been probably
Yes.
it's been probably moved and seconded that resolution be received, recorded, filed, and adopted by yea nay vote.
Mr. President, may have further comments if needed, but this was discussed thoroughly in committee. This is as was alluded to by the constituent that spoke first or earlier this evening. This is a long time coming. This is actually passed substitute 1 to Senate Bill 187. It was actually passed in June 2021 by Senator Sad McBride from our city, and the point was to implement and move cities over $30,000 to implement a plan. Well, as being Wilmington, we did not, probably move as swiftly as possible. I know I met with the Administration of Public Works starting last fall to say, hey, where's the program? Where are we at? And just traveling to other cities. I saw other cities start to implement programs. So this is allowing us to be compliant with that law, because actually based on the law, as of July 1st, we were supposed to implement a program. And over the years, I've gotten requests in my district for cords, and unfortunately, I had to tell constituents, hey, sorry, we don't have a permitting process. So this is establishing a permitting process along with the manual, so that if this passes today, as soon as it's signed by the mayor, people can implement a cord. People can actually apply for a permit, get the digging permit, and implement a program. But it also establishes a working group, as noted by the Sierra Club, who vetted this legislation, and many constituents. This is not perfect. Frankly, I just saw this full version and manual about a month ago, and a lot of us did not have the time. I get it. But to stay compliant with the law, within the law, we need these parameters in place, because if it's something discussed that is not there, then what we're going to have, if this full version is not passed, if even altered versions passed, then we're going to actually have a law in place in which there's no parameters. So essentially, if it's passed, we can have a situation where somebody can start digging tomorrow and cause a fire, or not get a permitting process because the proper or the big part of this legislation was gutted. So I implore everyone, this is the one that's been vetted by L&I. Commissioner Stark has vetted this. Commissioner Williams, working with, again, club organizations like the Sierra Club, so that we can set this up and that we can continue to work to make it better. But to follow the state law, we need something in place now. So there's been a lot of back and forth over this. I'm not going to get into that. I'm just staying strictly in business. This is something to move our city forward. We will have the working group that will continue to work on details as we implement a better plan, but we need something in place now.
Thank you. And I did misspeak earlier. This is an ordinance, not a resolution. Just wanted to have clarity on that. Any council members? Councilmember Spadola.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm going to get into my why after I go through this, but I have about 10 amendments that I would like to make. So at this time, I'd like to make a motion for a floor amendment as such. The first one would be on page 2 of substitute 1 to ordinance 23-027, to insert the following language at the end of section 42-246D, to read as follows. The working group will determine if level 2 should be added to this definition. The second amendment on page 2 of substitute 1 to ordinance 23-027, insert the following language at the end of section 42-246E, to read as follows. The working group will research and update this definition accordingly, as level 2 may go up to 7.7 kilowatts. Amendment 3, on page 3 of substitute 1, I'm not going to keep repeating the ordinance number, we know that. Insert the following language at the end of section 42-247A2 to read as follows, or level 2. On page 3 of substitute 1 to ordinance, delete section 42-247A6 and 42-247A7 in their entirety, and rename section 42-247A8 as section 42-247A6. Amendment 5 on pages 3 and 4, delete section 42-247E1 and section 42-247E2 in their entirety, and insert the following language to read as follows. The appropriateness of civil and/or criminal fines will be determined by the working group. Amendment 6, on page 4 of substitute 1 to ordinance number 23027, insert the following language at the end of section 42-247F to read as follows. The manual will be developed with the working group. Number 7, on page 5, delete section 42-248C1 in its entirety and insert the following language to read as follows. Appropriate public notification will be determined by the working group. Section 8 on page 5 of substitute 1, rename section 42-248C2 as section 42-248C1 and insert the following language at the end thereof to read as follows. The working group will determine how the city will respond to objections to an application. Amendment 9 on page 6, insert the following language at the end of section 42-248F5 to read as follows. The working group will work to define lock and cover. Amendment 10 on page 7, delete section 42-247K1 and section 42-247K2 in their entirety and insert the following language to read as follows. The appropriateness of civil and/or criminal fines will be determined by the working group. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. Can I continue with my comments?
Yes, you may
Thank
continue.
you. So we after the finance, when we had the finance committee meeting, there was widespread opposition to this, and it really revolved around two things: the lack of community input going into it, which was mitigated by the working group, which is a great first step, and that it was overly punitive, as Mr. Zolkowski's comments alluded to. What I did when I got the legislation, as I do, I sent it to EV owners throughout the city. One of them immediately responded with, who's not here today, he said, I may as well go back to getting a gas guzzler if this passes. And I think that speaks to the punitive nature of it. And so what my amendments do, it really tags the working group and gets them to focus on the areas they need to work on. So the working group has a mission, because otherwise there's the possibility that council could forget about this working group, and this goes into effect as is, and it's entirely punitive, and Joe is a criminal 2 times a day. And we don't want to deter people in this city from going into EVs. So this, again, in a nutshell, my amendments really empower the working group to vet some of the thornier aspects that have not been vetted. And it just allows for more community input. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Johnson was first.
I certainly respect Councilman Spadola, and we've gone back and forth on this. I respect the spirit of what he's doing, but by actually not, it presents a lot of, I understand he might have had someone from law department do this, but they don't look at the policy implications of deferring everything to the working group. Because if this passes, you could essentially have a program where, again, starting tomorrow, someone could dig, and there's no guidelines at all. And in fact, it would be widespread chaos. So I get the spirit. The working group will continue to work on make it better, but we need this in place, and I get it. But again, these constituents, I don't know who they've been emailing. Maybe they email only Councilman Spadola. I got contact from one constituent about this. And again, I don't go by hearsay. I go by, facts. And I don't know who these widespread people upset. It's actually the Sierra Club has vetted it. They love it. I don't know who even wrote this. Who is the person who wrote this? I don't know. So again, I know Public Works was not at the table with these amendments. I know L&I was not at the table. That's who I'm worried about, because the safety of our citizens is number one. At the end of the day, if something happens and there's a fire or a burning of a building, then we're the ones holding the bag. And I'm not going to do that on council, and I implore my colleagues not to do that. The original version is the version that will ensure safety of residents. That's the key, is safety of our residents.
Thank you. Councilmember Fields, then Councilmember Cabrera. Field, yes, Field.
So I'm speaking in favor of Councilman Spadola's amendments because I think they are most consistent with the spirit of SB 187. Everyone in this room, as far as I know, is pro EV and wants to see more EVs in Wilmington. The question is, what is the best approach to make Wilmington more EV friendly? With Ordinance 23-027, Council was handed last minute an incomplete and flawed document that wasn't vetted, wasn't based on community input, in order to meet an arbitrary state deadline. Unamended, it would set city law on EVs in more than a few ways that is impractical and or objectionable to many members of the community. If Ordinance 23-027 passes unamended, we will have to rely on a working group to amend the law. And the working group may or may not be effective. More often than not, I've seen working groups not be effective. What Councilman Spadola's amendment does is it improves the ordinance by truly creating a flexible framework for the city working group to have a clear function in filling out the details of an EV ordinance in a way that sufficiently listens to community concerns and the concerns of EV users. Number two, and very importantly, it gives the city flexibility to adapt, to respond to evolving EV changing technology without boxing the city in. It is a new industry and it constantly changes. As written now, it is very specific and would box the city in. So in conclusion, in my opinion, it is reasonable and best suits the spirits of Senate Bill 187 and bridges, something that everybody here can agree on. I'm in full support and ask other council members to support or fully discuss over the next week, achieve more consensus, and come back on July 13th for a final vote.
Thank you. Councilmember Cabrera.
Thank you, Mr. President. Obviously, we discussed quite a few things at the Community Development, Urban Planning, and Joint Finance Committee meeting. This was discussed at length. I did receive, I'll probably say I heard from 3 constituents myself via email as well as phone calls where they did take the time to express their concerns with the way the language was as written. We did come to a consensus that first, this legislation will not go into effect until January 1st, 2024 in any form. So there is going to be, we passed the ordinance, there is going to be no enforcement, which gives the working group time to work on this over the fall. Starting after our summer break, we can start working on this in August or September. Appoint different people from the communities that have a vested interest and can give some impartial views so that we can come with a more perfect form. We agree that it's imperfect. I am okay with the amendments that Councilman Spadola is putting forward because, again, this legislation does not go into effect until January 1st, 2024, with or without the amendments. It's just not happening. So hopefully we will have a meeting where we can actually present the final document that we can all agree on before the inception date of January 1st, 2024. So again, I will like to be added as a co-sponsor to the amendments because they do address the concerns that our constituents brought to our attention, both at the meeting and privately. So I'm in support of it. And again, we have a ways to go. I understand the urgency of why we had to pass this, and hopefully next time this council will not be put in this predicament and we will have things in a timely basis. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Just as a point of clarity, I believe it will go into effect July 1st, 2024.
Yes, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Even better.
Councilmember Bracy.
Thank you, Mr. President. So with that being said, I think that changes the conversation a bit because no one's going to be digging tomorrow or next week. There's going to be the point of the ordinance was to empower the working group to do the work, to research, to get this right. Because I think everyone agrees that this is not a perfect piece of legislation. However, what I appreciate about what
the councilman's amendments do is that it kind of sets some parameters for the working group, because without any instruction on how this working group is supposed to work and what areas should be focused on, we're kind of just batting out into the space. Like it could work, it could not. But at least with there's some set parameters in this amendment that gives the working group something to do. Like really, these are the areas of concern. This is where you should be focused your attention. So I feel like, you know, I just wanted to get that out there, that with us having time, we don't have, this isn't going into effect tomorrow. No one's going to be digging tomorrow. And we really need to focus on how best to set up this working group so that we can get this right. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember McCoy.
Thank you. So I do love the fact that we are going to finally start putting together a working group, so that we can hear all of the voices and make certain that this is actually get done correctly. My issue is the fact that if we, with the amendment, and one of the things that my council colleague stated, Councilman Fields, that sometimes working groups are not effective. So if we do this do this amendment and we have an ineffective working group, we still have an ineffective or incomplete ordinance. The whole point is actually getting the ordinance done and then coming back and to have to do an amendment. I'm like, right now in this seat from year 6, I've never seen anything really repealed if we did anything incorrectly. We just kind of like go along to get along. So the thing is trying to get things done, you know, getting it done correctly, having your working group. I've been in a working group. I've had those conversations. It is definitely difficult trying to start something from scratch because of the fact we had already had a group who were already educated with this, working on this. I'm like, I want to make certain that we have those people here. It is not about just, oh, I want to make certain that I get it close as possible to my curb. Because if we want to be honest, when it comes to EV, this is only really affecting one district. So I just want to make certain that we're not gonna bawl or cry or whatever because one district is not getting exactly what they needed. I want to see EV grow. I want to see more people get a chance to own a vehicle that will definitely help the environment. But we want to make certain that we have the right information at this point in time, and then if we need to go back and correct it by January so that it will be go in effect by July, I'm fine with that. I just wanted to make certain that you heard what my point of view. I don't want to have something that it becomes ineffective because our working group was ineffective, and then we still have an incomplete ordinance because everything was waiting on the working group to come back. That was all I had to say.
Thank you, Councilmember Harley.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Okay, so I like the fact that we are setting up some guardrails, if you please, for this working group. When you look at some of the fines that were included, they definitely are pretty punitive. And not only that, from my experience with working groups and commissions and things of that nature, it's hard to determine how they're going to come about and how they're going to be developed. And at this point in time, we just don't have all that information. So my thoughts at this point in time is that if, in fact, and I'm thinking about, we have the summertime between July and December. If this goes into effect January 2024, is that correct?
July.
July, okay. So we're looking forward to putting together a working group between now and when. Can somebody answer that question? Is there a date for the working group to be organized?
September.
By September?
Yes.
Okay, by September. And Again, council will be appointing how many members?
Up to 10.
Up to 10. And then my last question is, Councilmember Spadola planning on being a part of the working group?
I'll let him answer that when he has comments.
I'm sorry.
I'll let him answer that when he has comment. When he has
Okay.
a final comment.
Okay. And my last question is, and he can answer this when it's time for him to speak. Did anyone work with him on these amendments? Any council members? Did anyone else get the opportunity to work with him on these amendments?
Okay. All right, Councilman Johnson.
Again, I appreciate everyone's sentiments, and again, similar to what Council Member McCoy said, we have to have a starting block, and I don't want. This is difficult because I don't want to defer again our duty, our responsibility, to run the city and run it effectively. We can't delegate that duty to citizens, and that's my concern. Is that again, this delegates everything to the working group, and as Councilmember McCoy said, I've seen it in the 5 years I've been on council. There's a lot of working groups that won't be able to draft the manual. They won't be able to go through the penalties. So at least we need a starting point, and let them work from that starting point. That's all we're talking about. And yes, we get this in place, but it will go into place right away in terms of getting the working group established. And we have to go through, we're going to have engineers and individuals interested affect this. And this is the reason why it's important we set the precedent, because this will eventually be in every district. We're going to have it. There's Delaware passed a law that actually will mandate, starting, I believe, on 2035, over 50% of new cars to be electric vehicles. So there's actually mandates similar to California that are coming in Delaware. It's going to affect our community, especially our low income and black and brown communities. So we need a way of accessibility. We need a way of making sure there's grants. There's money out there right now from DNREC. So all those things will happen. And I get Councilman Spadola, again, I get it. But I want to give the group at least a framework to start with. Let them start with something, then we can move on, and then we can eventually implement this program and make sure the working group is effective, rather than give them nothing, give them a blank slate, and then let them create it. Because we're going to be sitting here a year from now not having anything created, and then we're going to face a mess. So that's all. Again, it's not anything against the proposed amendments, but it's just we really need best practices and not delegate our duties to citizens. We need to allow at least some framework to be in place. Thank you.
Thank you. And seeing no other hands raised, we're going to go back to Councilmember Harley.
Okay. I guess I'm not really clear on what is the negative impact of these amendments. I'm not hearing that. So I really would like to know what the negative impact would be of these amendments if this was voted on tonight. And then I hear Councilmember Johnson talking about giving the working group the opportunity to have something to start with. What are they starting with? That I'm totally lost.
All right, thank you. And seeing no other hands raised, going to go back to Councilmember.
My hand's up, Mr. President.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Cabrera, your second round.
Thank you. Councilmember Harley, you actually make a very valid point. So at this point, whether we pass the amendments, nothing happens, because we're still going to meet up with a working group. They can either have the parameters of what was already in the legislation or not. What we do know is that there were quite a few things in the legislation that people were opposed to. And I think it makes folks feel a little comfortable to know that after a record-breaking 3.5-hour meeting where this was discussed at length, that their concerns were heard, and they feel comfortable knowing that we heard them and that we're putting the amendments in place. Because at the end of the day, if we pass the amendments this evening, we're still going to have a different document for July 1st of 2024. It's going to be a work in progress before there is a final document. We know that if we don't pass the amendments tonight, there's still no harm and no foul, because what is in form now before the amendments still is not going to take place until July 1st, 2024. One could say that this is an exercise in futility, but I would say that what we're doing tonight is assuring the people who expressed concerns that we heard them, that the language was pretty strong in terms of criminal versus civil and things that made people very uncomfortable, and there wasn't the kind of clarity, and even the administration admitted that they didn't have, they didn't have the time, they didn't put the time, and just didn't have a perfect document to present, but that we needed to pass something. There was a sense of urgency. So there really is no harm or no foul whether we pass the amendments or whether we don't, just to bring clarity to that. And I'm hearing what everybody is saying, but I guess at this point, I just feel strong about listening to the people who express concerns and to know that we're hearing their concerns. And at least by doing the amendments, we know what we don't want in the document, regardless of the working group. We have something to work with and to fine tune. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Oliver, for our first round.
Yes, thank you. I'd like for to know, is this just for the city of Wilmington? I mean, I'm trying to get my head around this, or is this for the entire state, or is it for Newcastle County?
Councilmember Spadola, did you want to respond? Yes.
Just to that one specifically?
Yes.
This legislation is just for the city of Wilmington. Senate Bill 187 mandated that cities with populations of 30,000 residents or more come up with a policy similar to this. But obviously what we're talking about is just related to the city of Wilmington.
Yes, you may continue.
Yeah, follow up. The reason why I asked that question, because I spoke to some folks in Dover, and we talked about that other piece of legislation that we took all this from was very discriminatory because it excluded certain areas. So I just wanted to double check and see what was going on here. I too agree with everybody else is saying. This is coming at some point in time, but it's not coming down the river tomorrow. I'd just like to hear the comments because, to be honest, I don't see a lot of people no time soon running around buying $80,000, $90,000 cars in the 3rd District, put it like that. So I'm just listening to the comments. And as Councilwoman Maria Compare said, I think it's 2 things I'm going to take in. If we pass it, if we don't, nothing's going to happen no time soon. I think it just seems like everybody's on this cliff like this is going to take place tomorrow, and it's not. And that's what we discussed for 2 or 3 hours in the committee meeting. And another question, another statement I heard one of my colleagues say, I've been on these working groups, and most of them do work out. So I'm not going to sit up here and say, me as a legislator, that I'm not interested in being in a working group, or working groups don't work out unless they just were maybe civic associations. But we're talking about working groups for legislation. I would take this very serious, and we can sit down. I thought that was what was taking place in the committee room. I mean, like she said, I don't see. It seems like everybody's on the edge. Like this is like something mandatory, and looking, and for 2 hours, that's what we talked about, stretching it so we can have a working group to discuss it. But I mean, it's no biggie to me one way or another. But I do think council members should have the opportunity to sit down, because you're just saying we're doing amendment what, and just to see all these amendments. I guess it could go back to the ordinance was thrown down on us, and we're still working on that. Now we got these amendments put in front of us, and it's just a whole bunch of stuff going on here. And I'm not saying any of it, it's so bad at this point. I just see a lot going on here that it's not taking place until 2024.
All right, thank you for your second round, Councilmember Field.
Just a quick comment on the concept of, quote, starting point. So -03 -23-027 unamended, just to be clear, is a highly detailed ordinance that sets city policy on about 10 or so issues where there's no right or wrong. There's no right or wrong. But there's those 10 or so issues are issues that most of us feel the neighborhood needs to have a say. We saw one person here speak to this from my district. The neighborhood has to have a say. For example, criminalization, the word criminalization. We've discussed on other issues how that's very problematic, and we've spent time stripping that out of certain things related to housing. So unamended, what this means is that the working group will be focused on undoing settled law. July 2024 is not that far away when it comes to the pace of government. So if we pass it unamended, the working group will be focused on undoing settled law and how easy is it to achieve consensus on anything in local government. What the amendment does is actually creates a starting point, because on those 10 or so issues that, each neighborhood is different. Each neighborhood has its own character. On those 10 or so issues where there's no right or wrong answer, but where there needs to be some community input, Councilman Spadola's amendments simply modify the language to give the city more leverage and to get community input. To me, this is a perfect solution, the amendments to the original ordinance, and it's the best case scenario. And I'm voting for it. And another alternative is that we wait a week and have gain more consensus behind the scenes. But to me, this is a perfect solution, what Spadola has proposed.
Thank you. And for final comment from Spadola, seeing Councilmember McCoy, did you have a second round?
Yeah, don't even need a whole lot of time. Just wanted to state that I am not against the amendments are trying to accomplish. Like I said, my concern, and one of the things I brought up, is the fact that government is slow, and I just want to make certain that we give ourselves the time to get this done. That we don't, when it's time to start going to these meetings, they do get, they drag on. We just want to make certain that it gets done, and it can be a push. I don't want to put something out that does not have any type of real, is not tied up in a bow, or whatever, or complete or whatever, and then we can go back and change it, but have something that is totally incomplete, and then we don't get to the deadline. That was my only issue. So I just wanted to make certain that I was clear on that.
All right, thank you. And going to Councilmember Spadola for final comment.
Thank you. I appreciate everyone's thoughtful comments. Just regarding to Councilmember Harley's questions, in terms of me being on the working group, happy to be. The mayor offered me a slot. Councilmember Johnson offered me co-chair. But much more important than me being on it is really having people like Cora and Joe, people that know the issue inside and out. So I won't be on it if I'm taking up a spot from somebody who knows this issue much better than I do. And yes, Councilmember Harley, I worked with a variety of council members, hearing their concerns and coming up with these amendments. I just want to close, really the most important amendment of all of this and why it's important we pass them is all about the criminalization aspect. As it is, this ordinance is way too punitive. There is harm, there is foul if we don't pass these amendments, because somebody's going to read that legislation and be like, oh my God, I could be a criminal if I screw up this application process, or I could be getting civilly fined if I'm not charging this the right way. And sure, at some point that might come into play, but let's get the working group to really vet that issue. And these amendments make sure that nobody thinks they're going to be a criminal the next day. Thank you.
Thank you. So at this time, we're going to take a roll call vote on the amendment. We're voting on the amendment. Clerk.
Councilmember White,
No.
Councilmember Oliver,
Present.
Councilmember Harley,
Present.
Councilmember Fields,
Present.
Councilmember McCoy,
No.
Councilmember Johnson,
No.
Councilmember Field,
Yes.
Councilmember Cabrera,
Yes.
Councilmember Mills,
No.
Councilmember Spadola,
Yes.
Councilmember Bracy,
Yes.
President Congo.
Yes.
Excuse me. No.
Yeah, I want to change mine back to.
Changing my vote. I said no. Couldn't do that. Thank you.
And I want mine's no.
Noted. So, 5 yeas, 6 nays, and 1 present, and 1 absent.
Declare defeated. The amendment.
Mr. President, point of order.
Yes, Councilmember Cabrera.
I'm just a little confused. We did a roll call, everybody voted. Once we got to the end and it appeared that maybe the yays had it, 2 council members changed
Point of
their vote
order.
from present
She's allowed to
to
speak.
yay. I mean, I just don't think that seemed right that we did our vote and then now we're going back to make changes.
Yes, so I'll let
Just
the,
expressing my concern.
yes, I understand. I'll let the parliamentarians speak, but I do believe that council members can change their vote before the final tally. But parliamentarian?
Yes, Councilwoman Cabrera, excuse me. Council members can change their vote up and until the vote is tallied. And from my understanding, Councilmember Fields and Councilmember Oliver changed their present vote to nay, to no. Not a yay vote, a nay vote.
Thank you. I just wanted that for clarity. Like I mentioned before in my comments, the legislation really does mean nothing at this point until we finalize it. So either way, no skin in this game. Just wanted to make sure we could do that. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So back to Councilmember Johnson.
Yes, I think we've talked at length of the evening. Again, this is the starting point. We're looking forward to getting the public involved. Our city council working group. We're going to get trusted individuals and constituents. I think many who are in this room as part of this process, and we're going to get it right. And we're going to get this right. We're going to get moving forward, and we look forward to getting this in place as making Wilmington a sustainable city, looking at solar concepts, clean energy concepts. It's important because it affects our most impoverished neighborhoods. And that's the key, is that we have to get this right in terms of the public, even having charging stations in public parks. This legislation does not include that. But that's something I've heard from residents that they would like it. Rodney Square or someplace like that. You could do one at Christina Park or Price's Run, wherever. You can put charging stations there once people have them more in their lower cost. So again, I look forward to support for this as we move forward.
Clerk, please call for the roll.
1 second. Councilmember White,
Yes.
Councilmember Oliver,
Yes.
Councilmember Harley,
Yes.
Councilmember Fields,
Yes.
Councilmember McCoy,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Field,
Present.
Councilmember Cabrera,
Yes.
Councilmember Mills,
Yes.
Councilmember Spadola,
Present.
Councilmember Bracy, President Congo.
Yes.
10 yeas, 2 present, and 1 absent.
Declared adopted. Councilmember Johnson, you may continue.
Okay, and lastly, Mr. President, I have a resolution to present.
Resolution 23-045, agenda number 0332, whereas Section 2-369 of the City Code requires grants in the amount of $5,000 or more awarded by the Office of Mayor, City Council, or the Office of the City Treasurer be approved by City Council by resolution, and whereas the Office of the Mayor would like to award a grant to the United Way of Delaware Incorporated in the amount of $25,000, and whereas City Council would like to award
At this
a
time, move
grant-
for this resolution to be received, recorded, and filed, and adopted by unanimous vote.
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that this resolution be received, recorded, filed, and adopted by your nay vote on the question.
This is a resolution to support, it was an urgent request from United Way and Dr. Taylor for summer youth programming. I think a lot of my colleagues on council are more experienced, and it's like, for example, Councilmember Mills is an expert in this field. It's much needed, especially this time with the uptick in summer engagement. We have to do all boots on the ground. And so what this is, though, is asking each council member to make that individual allotment. Put your money where your mouth is, help support the community. And I think there's buy-in from most of council, but if Marshall has not gotten a commitment from you, please, please, please join this commitment. We just need to move forward, get this programming out in the street, and make sure that we can get make sure the summer programs keep going. So, we appreciate everyone's support.
Councilmember Spadola.
Thank you. I have a potential conflict of interest that I didn't have time to vet with the Ethics Commission. So unfortunately, I will have to vote present, and will keep my comments limited to this. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to be added as a co-sponsor. And Councilmember Mills.
Yes, Mr. President. I too would like to be added as a co-sponsor.
Councilmember Oliver.
I'd just like to say, I think this is really give City Council our kudos. We stepped up to the plate to help out an organization who's always there, not just for us, but for the residents throughout the state of Delaware. I just wanted to make that comment.
Thank you. And clerk, please call for the roll. 1 second, please. Councilmember White.
Yes, I too would like to be added as a co-sponsor.
Thank you. And see no other hands raised. Clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilmember White,
Yes.
Councilmember Oliver,
Yes.
Councilmember Harley,
Yes.
Councilmember Fields,
Yes.
Councilmember McCoy,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Field,
Yes.
Councilmember Cabrera,
Yes.
Councilmember Mills,
Yes.
Councilmember Spadola,
Present.
Councilmember Bracy,
Yes.
President Congo.
Yes.
11 yeas, 1 present, and 1 absent.
Declared adopted. At this time, we will move to petitions and communications. Councilmember White.
None.
Councilmember Oliver.
Yes, I'd like to invite everyone over to Price's Park, July the 15th, the Community Day event, in partnership with Reverend Heron Gospel. What is it? Gospel Live. Let's see. Reverend Heron is.
Steve Hare,
What is it?
Pastor Hare.
Pastor. No, Michelle. Pastor. Down Newcastle. Gospel Live.
Steve Hare.
Oh, see here. Okay.
Pastor Hare.
Yes. Yeah. Pastor Heron. With Miss Covington, Pastor Ben. Long story short, just want to invite y'all out if you want to come. It's on July the 15th. It's only from 2. It's a 3-hour event, and they seem to have a lot of things going to be going on over there. Family and Friends Day. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Harley.
Yes, Mr. President, I have a couple announcements. One, there's going to be a steering wheel lock giveaway Saturday, July 8th from 10 to 12 at ShopRite, 501 South Walnut Street. For those that don't know, there's been quite a few vehicles, Hyundais and Kia vehicles being stolen. So the Wilmington Police Department will be giving out steering wheel lock instruments on Saturday, July 8th, again from 10 to 12. And then secondly, Harper's Heart, they're going to have an event called the Tea on Breastfeeding. That's going to be Saturday as well, July the 8th from 1 until 3. The location is 300 Delaware Avenue, Suite 210. They're going to be giving out free electric breast pump sets upon completion of the course, and you can go on social media under Harper's Heart and RSVP there. That's all I have, Mr. President.
Thank you. Councilmember Fields.
Yes. I just want to announce that West Side Farmers Market at Cool Spring Park is from June 28th to October 25th. Every Wednesday from 3:30 to 6:30 p.m. They take WIC, they take SNAP, and EBT. So people that have that utilizes those type of payments for food, they can get fresh fruit and vegetables at the farmers market on Wednesday. Also on Saturday, July 15th, from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. I will be hosting the second Packed and Prepare for Success College Supplies giveaway. It's for college students, freshmen to seniors, must be a city of Wilmington residents, so it doesn't matter what side of town you're from. As long as you live in Wilmington, you can come get a basket. We're just hosting it at West Center City. 2 forms of proper identification is required: driver's license and proof of address, college ID, acceptance letter, or registration letters. And I would like to also, just thank the sponsors that have sponsored so far. We still got sponsorships coming in, but just those who have already dedicated some funds to these college student giveaways is awesome. So I really appreciate those who stepped up and gave. That's it. Oh, and my quote. Life is too short to waste your time on people who don't respect, appreciate, and value you. Roy T. Bennett. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember McCoy.
Thank you. I just wanted, I only have like really one thing planned. I don't even actually have a name for it yet. It just came through. So I have been on social media pretty much complaining about my auto insurance for the past couple months. And so I decided to invite Trinidad Navarro, our insurance commissioner, to the city of Wilmington, the Wilmington Library, on July 25th. I just wanted to make certain that we would get some answers. Maybe he can actually provide some answers. Wanted to make certain that everyone gets a chance to talk to this person and find out, not through their insurance company, but exactly what's going on here within our city and why our rates are going up as they are. So that's going to be on July 25th at 6 p.m. at the Wilmington Library. Please come. I will be putting up a post on social media so that you can send questions through the email, so that we will not bombard our insurance commissioner. He will get a chance to look at those questions and bring answers to us, because we all want to make certain that we have understanding. So that is the one thing that I have planned for July. But besides that, I just wanted to make certain that all of our elderly know that summer has finally kicked in. Our spring was forever. It rained all the time, and now it's gotten hot. And so they're asked constituent services, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we got fans." So they finally put it up. We have fans, and they're going to be giving those out on Tuesdays through Thursdays from 11 to, oh my gosh, what is that time frame? I'm sorry. I skipped from it. Okay, it's from 11 to 1 o'clock. And so it's through our constituent services. So I just wanted to make certain if any of our seniors need a fan, I wish we was giving out air conditioners, but we don't. So if any of our seniors need a fan, you can contact the city constituent services to receive one. Okay. And I think, also, I just wanted to make certain I got a chance to thank Captain Roseo and also Sergeant Lakia, okay. I made them aware. I made Captain Rosea aware of what was going on South Lincoln Street, and I'm telling you, within 48 hours, he put a radar up there, with the sign saying 25 miles per hour, and I'm already getting, my residents are telling me, oh my God, it slowed down so much. People were coming from Ellesmere. I guess once they got away from that, the Ellesmere cops, they would floor it, and they're finally slowing back down. So I just wanted to make certain that people realize that they are coming through a neighborhood. I know South Lincoln Street looks like a highway, but it is not. So I just wanted to say thank you to Wilmington Police Department, because they responded, and they responded quickly. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Johnson.
And to follow up with that, Captain Roseo, shout out again goes to him we've had many issues again with our corridors. Him and his team has really been on point. What I urge residents to do is call the non-emergency line 654-5151 for issues that aren't urgent threats. I know, again, there's activity on our corridors. There may be individuals who have substance use disorder. And as a city, we're working quickly to get community response teams. But until then, we have our WPD men and women on the front lines. So please call the non-emergency line 654-5151. I would like to shout out to Cultural Affairs and Mayor's Office for putting on a great 4th of July festival. It seemed like it was bigger than ever. It was great to see individuals of all backgrounds and races sharing in the festivities at Tubman Garrett Park. I remember the dark days when we didn't have that, around, it was around 2011. It was going for a few years. So it's nice to see the community together. I hope we have a Juneteenth festival that rivals that one day, but, baby steps at a time. And the other just note for anyone in the community, again, everyone has my cell phone and email. If there's a civic association that I know there's some frustrations about ones that aren't meeting and have been inactive. I've already given information to those individuals. Please reach out to me again if you want information about restarting, as there's civic associations that are dormant, that have funding, that need support to get started. So again, if you have any question about how to restart the civic association, please let me know, as I know there have been some that have been inactive during COVID. So I'm always here to help. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Field.
Yes, I want to highlight two events taking place in and around the 8th District. Every Monday night for the rest of the summer is a concert in Rockford Park and Brandywine Park put on by Friends of Wilmington Parks and Wilmington State Parks. And every Thursday night for the rest of the summer is a happy hour at the Delaware Art Museum, 5:30 to 8 o'clock. Delaware Art Museum every Thursday night for the rest of the summer. It's a really fun event, a lot of people and music, and you can go inside the museum as well. Thanks.
Thank you, Councilmember Cabrera.
Thank you, Mr. President. I do want to announce that this Saturday at the Kalmar Nickel, it is Pirate Days. That is one of my favorite events. I do bring my grandson and anybody else's little child that I can hang out with so that I can go and have a good time at the event. Of course, all are welcome. You don't have to bring children to enjoy, but there will be tours of the Kalmar Nickel. It will be held at the shipyard. You can check out the museum. If you do want to go on the ship, there's just a cost for the adults, but otherwise than that, the festival is completely free. And I'm trying to get the time here. I do believe it runs till about 4 p.m., the Pirate Festival. So I'm going to give you that time in just a moment. I also want to echo what Council Member Johnson said. I did get a chance to go down to Tom and Garrett Park for the latter part of the festival, and it was nice, well attended, considering it was hot and muggy. And I was really impressed with the fireworks show. They did a really good job. So that's something that's going on. There are a lot of different concerts and things taking place throughout the city. So I hope that people do get out and enjoy that. Look in on the seniors, as was mentioned by Council Member Fields. It's now getting hot out there. We need to keep an eye on our seniors, make sure that they have adequate ventilation, even if it means running an errand for them so they don't have to go out in the heat. All of that would be great. So the event is July 8th, 12 to 4 p.m., and that is on East 7th Street at the Kalmar Nickel, which is 1124 East 7th Street. Continue to get out there, support our little league teams. I know that Roberto Clemente League, they're still playing their games, and I hope that people are enjoying their summer. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilman Mills.
Yes, Mr. President. I want us to invite everyone out to the National Night Out, August the 1st, which will be hosted by Terry Apartments, Representative Nnamdi Chukwucha, in partnership with the Wilmington Police Department at Brandywine Park, at the Sugar Bowl Pavilion, Baynard Boulevard, Wilmington, Delaware. Be food, entertainment, and family fun. Just a nice night out, and hope to bring the people out to represent the communities and the seniors, high rises in the area.
What night was that? I'm sorry.
It's going to be August the 1st, Tuesday, August the 1st is National Night Out.
Okay.
And in closing, I just want to offer my condolences to Jehovah Clark's family, the young man that was killed this weekend in Wilmington. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Spadola.
Thank you, Council President. Nothing tonight.
Thank you, Councilmember Bracy.
Thank you, Mr. President. On July 26th, at the Wilmington Public Library, I partnered with Health and Human Services. They are going to have a town hall at the library starting at 6 o'clock. They're going to talk about some of the upcoming changes to the state service centers in the city. And they're also going to have representatives there for a resource fair. So if anyone has any questions, or there was some transitions going on with the Medicaid program, if you have questions, representatives from the state will be at the Wilmington Library. Again, that's July 26th at 6 p.m. Thank you.
All right, thank you. On October the 7th, we are going to be honoring our former colleague, Rashima Dixon, with a 5K. So running for Rashima. Again, that's going to be on October the 7th. We'll have more information as the date approaches. But it's going to be a 5K. You're welcome to participate, and I'm sure that all of us will be there. So just want everybody to spread the word. Again, it's going to be on October the 7th. I just want to clear up some misconceptions also from the Wilmington Police Department. There seems to be the belief that council as a whole has denied them certain grants and certain equipment that they need. I think that Councilmember Fields, you were out there with me at the park. I'm not sure if you heard the conversation. Yeah. But as a council, we have never denied the department anything. I believe one time we delayed their recruitment class just because we wanted to hear a plan about diversity, but we have never, as far as I've been on council, we have never denied the police department any type of funding for any type of protective equipment that they need to do their job safely. So I just wanted to make that statement publicly. The officers were extremely kind and joking with us, but they did feel that we had done that as a council. So that's not the case. And I think that's it. Just wanted to thank everyone who has joined us in council chambers and also virtually. You're always welcome to come and visit and participate in our meetings every first and third Thursday. We are going to have another meeting next Thursday at 6:30. So please join us in chambers or virtually. And with that, I will accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
It's been seconded and it's
I
been
said
moved and
move,
it's been moved
yeah.
and seconded to adjourn. Anyone want to stay? No? All right, meeting adjourned. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Oh, yeah, I wanted to give a shout out to Akira. Yeah, give a shout out. Had a lip gloss on and everything today.